calling the kettle black because you're telling Cam Newton that he needs to get married and be an example for the black community when you as a black woman don't even want to marry a black man because you want to date outside your race. What are you talking about?
Have you ever dated outside your race?
Yes, that's all I would like to do.
No.
Yes.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Riva, and I'm back again with another video. So I actually pulled in a section out of the Cam Newton and K Michelle interview, and I wanted to highlight a lot of this conversation, mainly because I don't know about anybody else, but me personally, I saw a lot of contradictions happening within the conversation that I wanted to mention. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and press play, pause, play, give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions on this entire situation. And again, of course, if you do not know who K Michelle is, she is an R&B singer, a country singer, as well as a reality TV personality. She was on the beginning seasons of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. I'm not sure exactly what she was there to promote at this time, or if she was just there to have a conversation, but I'm going to go ahead and press play and we'll get into the whole conversation.
Women are so mad and so bothered that when I told them that I was doing your show, they were like, light it up. Tell him the truth.
So this, she's basically saying that basically the sisterhood sent her there with a mission. And the mission was to, humble him, check him, put him in his place, tell him his wrongdoings. And that is coming off of the tail of what happened when Dr. Cheyenne Bryant was there. And the two of them had a conversation in regards to his family structure, his family unit. And women felt so happy that she, checked him.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active.
So now, based off of that one particular situation, every woman that goes on there and is a black woman especially, they want those women to go up there and do the same exact thing that Dr. Cheyenne Bryant did. And if, the women do not do that, they are going to face, some kind of backlash from the sisterhood, from, black women on social media, for not stepping up to the plate and handling business like they instructed them to do.
People like your significant other. They liked her before y'all had become a couple.
Sure.
And some things that she has said, might have offended women in other ways, and now they're like, oh, so now you're in this situation that you made fun about.
So Cam Newton is in a relationship with comedian Jazzy. I think her name is Jasmine Brown. And, before the two of them got into any kind of relationship, she was on social media basically calling women that, acted a certain way pick-me's. She talked about, all kinds of different, attributes of women and how they would be, beneath men, and that could never be her.
So this is the woman who became his 3rd baby mother. And this is the way she was talking about, quote-unquote, pick-me's before she got with Cam Newton.
These are women who try to do everything right just so a man can choose me. Yeah, cut that out. Because I'm going to keep it real with you. Men already know what they want in a woman and who they want. But if you're so nurturing and you're an asset and it's not you, they'll never tell you to stop doing what you're doing because it's beneficial.
So basically, now that she is in this relationship with Cam Newton and, a lot of their personal business is out there, a lot of the conversation is surrounding her, in a certain light because of the things that he tells on the podcast. Now what she's saying is that a lot of women do not have any kind of compassion, empathy, or sympathy for her because they're like, how come all of a sudden you now have this epiphany and you get it, but when other women were being nurturing and doing the best that they could, you called them derogatory names.
And now all of a sudden you done switched up.
Yeah, you done switched up, but I'm telling you, something called being drunk. Oh, hallelujah. It will make you see things differently, do things differently, and just love in general.
So I thought this was interesting that she talked about being like, demonetized, demonetized. And because she's basically saying like that's why, obviously Jazzy changed her tune because she was in a certain type of relationship or whatever the case is. And so now she's singing a whole different tune. And I think that just speaks volumes for a lot of different things. I say this all the time, especially here when I have conversations with you guys, that, so often women talk about, oh, I would never make no man a sandwich. I would never. And some of the women who are the loudest at saying derogatory things about men, when they get into that right situation with a man, all of a sudden, the blindfold comes off of their eyes and they are doing the most. Okay, the same way that they call other women pick me, they become the number one, pick me on the front line, hoping that this man will choose them.
In my position, when you're the person everybody pulls from, your charging station for me has always been women.
But that's why there's this thing and there's this balance. Like, I'm the one in my family that takes care of everybody, all the family. When you come home, you want to be, like you said, your charging station.
Here's something that I wanted to also mention for everyone in particular, but especially the women, is that sometimes you can be in a situation with a man and you are just that, you are a charging station. Now, charging station can be so many different ways. Some men get renewed by, having intimacy with a woman, unloading that pressure, unloading that stress, and walking away. Sometimes it's from having that compassion from their partner, their wife, their girlfriend, whatever, in that relationship. Like, there's so many different avenues that men release stress or find that comfort or charge within their relationship. And it's important to know the difference. Right? It's important to know that sometimes your body could be used in a way to release stress, but he doesn't actually have any kind of emotional connection with you or love with you. And so when K. Michelle is trying to put herself in that same position, I don't believe it's the same because, as a woman, you want a man to pour into you, speak life into you and admire you and love on you, hug you up, kiss you up. And sometimes for men, it's not that same thing. Okay, sometimes it is just going out there frivolously and finding women to, take your mind, the pressure off of things and having intimate connections, but not emotional connections. So there's a vast difference.
I think it's happening with women right now. Can we be honest about what women are dealing with? Women are making more money than men.
That's challenging.
Yes,
that
women,
challenges the
if you're going to bring me hell and I can pay my own bills, it's not worth it.
Now, this part of the conversation is when things started to pick up, right? And she talks about what women are going through. And the reason why I definitely wanted to emphasize that is because what are women, if women are making more money now, they have the ability to do more things. They have more freedom than they've ever had. Why would they be going through anything? Right? You should be at your leisure. You should be at a peaceful place because you're choosing to work. That's what you want to do. You're getting your just due from whatever work it is that you're doing. And so now you're at this comfortable space. You're not, operating out of lack. You're not operating out of misery or stress because you can't, afford to do certain things. But now with more freedom and more ability to choose, I found that it seems that more women have become more miserable in the relationship sector. And, it's so interesting that she said, these men are making less money. And so it's like, you're trying to tell me what to do and check me, but you're not paying any bills.
You ever seen a dinosaur in the wild? It's okay.
Come on.
I don't mean in a theme park.
So is it that it's the stress of, is it the problem that he's telling you something to do, or is it that he's not having more money than you, so you feel that he doesn't have the authority to tell you what to do?
Women, if you're going to bring me hell and I can pay my own bills, it's not worth it.
Now, this is something that I definitely don't agree with, right? Because it's saying that, it's just the same narrative of, I'd rather be crying in the back of a Rolls Royce than, be crying with this man. Why are you crying? Like, in general, why are you crying? This narrative leads to the fact that, you're prioritizing finances, somebody who's able to pay your bills, somebody who's able to provide for you financially, over somebody who's able to effectively communicate, somebody who's emotionally intelligent. Like, that whole narrative of I'd rather be crying in the back of a Rolls Royce. You'd rather be in a miserable situation as long as somebody is providing for you and paying your bills than being in a situation where the two of you are trying to effectively build something together and grow in that situation and in that dynamic, opposed to you being in that situation where you are trying to pick up the pieces or trying to fix things. I've never agreed with the idea that finances comes before a man's principles, a man's standards, a man's structures, his belief system, who you are, and a man's integrity. I don't agree.
I see my parents who've been together forever. I get to witness a traditional, old school type of love. But nowadays, what we're witnessing city girls, we're witnessing this and that, and it's like the genders are doing this.
Right.
Something I noticed very off-rip is that she talked about what women are going through. Then she said that she's witnessed, her parents being together. Now she talks about, the city girls and all of these things. And then she's saying that the genders are clashing. But where she took this conversation next was very interesting to me.
Being in Nashville all the time, being in Atlanta all the time, and then going to Nashville, where it's predominantly white. One, they go home at 5 and 6 o'clock when they're producing, because they go home to their families. Being a country singer, if you are a singer in country music, you're a man. If you are not married, it is not respected.
Let me give you my point of view on this. First of all, country music is basically very closely based off of Christian values, Christian standards, Christianity as a whole. Like, it's very like, you can't wear certain things to country music awards, you can't act a certain way, you can't say everything that it is that you want to say. Like, they will easily banish you outside the circle, right? And so being that they have a strong foundation in that way, and they have all similar beliefs, of course you are going to get family at the center, because they are going off of biblical values. When you are comparing that to a hip hop world where it's a it's not a one size fits all, it's a you have these belief system, this belief system, that belief system. It's definitely not centered around love, family, whatever. But there's so many other genres that you can also speak on. But using the worst of a certain genre to compare to a wholesome culture, it's almost like comparing I could see if she compared country music and like gospel music, or country music and like different kind, but you're comparing a genre that is made up of the same city girls that you were just talking about degrading themselves.
Family is respected in country music in that space, but in our space, we are singing about side chicks. We are glorifying a lot of women. That's not what happens in Nashville. You can't call a woman in Nashville because they'll never even listen to your music, and your professional career will suffer.
Yeah, but also you're not going to hear those women calling themselves that. You're not going to hear those women calling themselves that in terms of endearment. So as much as you're putting the onus on the man, women are also aiding to that within our community and within our culture. They think it's cool to call each other, oh, what up, B? What up, H? What up? Like, they look at that as terms of endearment for themselves. So to then, try to say that men can't say it when women are calling themselves that, oh, yeah, I'm the B, I'm the baddest B. Like, what are you talking about, really? It's completely different worlds with completely different backgrounds, completely different struggles, completely different history.
At what point in the black community do our men create real homes?
Now, this is the part where she's starting to put on her, Cheyenne Bryan cape. She's starting to now do what she was instructed to do when she got there, which is, like I said, check him and call out black men for the negative things that they're doing for the community, while in the same tone simultaneously praising the fact that white men don't do these things. So let's just press play, and you guys are going to see where I'm coming from in terms of contradiction.
And even talking, just our first time talking, and you said you didn't even mean for that to happen. Life happens. I'm not here to judge life. I'm looking at a successful black man that has the ability to literally turn the narrative on black family.
I got to say something and be honest. And I just feel that you cannot force people into a narrative that they don't want to be in. The worst thing you can do is force a man who does not want to be married to marry somebody. Because every time they have a hiccup, a problem, an issue, that resentment is going to build. Okay? It is not Cam Newton's job to be the representative of families, structure, and marriage for the black community. There are so many men who are showing it. But the problem is that the men who are showcasing their wives, their relationships, people, it goes in one ear and out the other. But why try to force a narrative onto somebody who clearly is not at the space that he wants that? And we have to stop taking all responsibility off of him and also realize that there are women who are sitting around and participating in whatever the situation is that he has also been a part of creating.
My whole family, they're married. I'm not the girl who didn't see what a man creating a black family is supposed to be. So I'm asking right now, black men to really step up for black women and create families.
She just said that black women were making the most money. Black women are in these spaces. Black women are now becoming the city girls. Black women don't want to be told nothing because they can pay their own bills. Black women do not want to comply. And now she is telling this man, or telling all black men, that they need to step in the gap for black women and basically bow down to them and give them what they so much deserve, even though these same black women are not willing to do the work.
When you get distracted by a fluffy little dog rocking the same necklace as you, then suddenly you've overdrafted. With Cash App, you're good. Get free overdraft coverage when you direct deposit at least $300 each month.
These same city girls, these same girls that's making so much money, these same girls who don't want to be submissive, these same girls who are unwilling to comply. She's crying and begging them to step up to the plate. I feel like this would have been such a stronger conversation. Maybe not as viral, but stronger conversation if she said to black women, hey, this your counterpart. You got to, not because you're making so much money means that, you're the ruler of the house and you got to dictate what goes and what doesn't go. No. We still have, a certain hierarchy in a home. We still have certain values and morals. Because even if, it's Faith Hill, and she's making way more money than Tim McGraw. I don't think that's a possibility, but let's say, for instance, she is. She's not going to be walking around telling him what he got to do and what he can't do, and he got to do this and he better do that. She's not going to do that. So we need to have those same kind of conversations within our own community.
It's really not cool. Black men are attacking black women. And it's not cool. They're not creating homes. They're creating babies everywhere. It's not cool.
Again, how is it an attack when these women are willing participants? Okay? Again, way more impactful conversation with the woman who is in charge. Okay? She is, subletting her womb to these men's children. Way more impactful conversation when you say women control your womb. If you don't see any kind of certain commitment, if you don't see any kind of structure, whatever, you need to control your womb. Do not give this man a child and make yourself vulnerable in a way that he can just pick up, move, choose, refuse if he wants to. Make sure there is some kind of something in place that you know that he is here for the long haul with you. I'm not saying that both parties are not to blame, right? Obviously, he know what he doing and she know what she doing. They're grown people, but who is in control of who gets to make it to Earthside and is born in the world? It is the woman. If you're not on birth control, if you're not using any kind of ramification to stop whatever situation, you are also a part of the problem. You are not a victim.
And I'm asking you, other successful black men, you have to set an example as leads. The cute social media back and forth on black women. Black women are strong. Black women are where you come from, this and that.
This conversation always goes to, your mama black. That's where you come from. And so you got to treat all women in a certain way. But how come, again, we don't have the same conversation with black women? A black man is where you come from. That's what you should respect. That's what you should, try to. No, the conversation is always tilted. Always, as if all women are victims, no women are the problem. How many examples have we seen of men trying to portray successful marriages and turn around and the woman takes them for everything, lie? If we want to use athletes, for example, Deion Sanders and Pilar Sanders was a grand example of that. Grand example. And K. Michelle said that she saw her parents married forever, her grandparents, everybody, she's seen strong family units, but you've also seen the traits of these women. And so I would love for women who have seen these things to bring to the conversation the traits of those women. Because if you can have one woman who dates a certain type of man and she gets nothing from him, crumbs, terrible situation. He don't want to be with her. He don't want to fool with her. She gets played like like a game. And then you have another woman who deals with that same kind of man, gets different results. Because a man is feeding off of what you're bringing to the situation. If you seem like you're just going to play around, you down for anything, you the cool girl and everything goes, that's what you're going to get. If you step to the situation as a wife, you're going to get treated like one. And if he doesn't treat you like one, that's a him problem. You move on, you keep acting like that, somebody's going to marry you.
Probably isn't any sympathy for you and just life happening, because there's so many other things around you going on that are not fair to Black women. What is going on with the Black family?
What's interesting to me is that, she has so much, talking about the Black family and the dismantling of the Black family. And later on in the conversation, they actually ended up talking about the fact that she doesn't even date Black men.
No, I don't even want a man. And I've always dated outside of my race. White men love me.
Her preference is not dating Black men. Her preference is dating white men.
We are consistently creating the cycle of kids who can't come home and see their daddy there.
I'm gonna be the never.
Find styles that feel more you than ever, without compromise.
Motherfucker just
And they see their mama sad at night.
What about the truth that sometimes a mama is sad because of self-inflicted pain? What about the fact that some women have a baby to one-up the next woman that he actually is truly in love with or wants to be in a relationship with, and so she does that as like a caveat to try to manipulate the situation and gets what she wants out of it? What about the women who drive the man away because of their unhealed traumas or their inability to check themselves, respect people around them, and deal with a man effectively in the way that he should be treated. And so now when he decides that he no longer wants to take it, now she's the victim. Like, we have to, there's way more than one scenario. There's not one situation where these men are all trash, they're horrible, they're horrible at being good parents and raising these kids, and they don't love their kids, and so they run away. There's so many more layers to that conversation. Too many.
At what point is the successful Black man in this world going to step in and really create structure? I see white men doing it every day. I get to witness the best of both worlds every day.
Again, you see it again. She started off talking about in Nashville how, the white men do it. They prioritize their family and their children. Then she talked about, again, how come Black men, create these situations and, white men don't do it. So how come we do it? And then she said it again.
At what point do the successful Black men build Black families? We ain't gonna ever have a Black family if y'all don't do it. We're never gonna have it. It's just not gonna happen.
Again, I think the strongest point missing from this conversation is, do those wives that these successful white country singers go home to, do those wives act in any way similar to the way that you see Black women acting, especially on social media? Do they? Do those wives get to dictate, disrespect, demean, degrade, emasculate their men on a daily basis and get the same treatment as if they did nothing wrong? Do those men feel like they are the leaders of their homes? Do those men have to bow down to their women? Or do their women understand, respect, and know the hierarchy?
But at what point do you take that Black woman? Do you be in a home and show your kids what it's like, At what point do you take a grip to it, not make excuses for it or mantras and things like that? It is so unfair to black women who have been the strength and builders of so many things.
If you think that's unfair, imagine how black men feel when, you know, they've been at the forefront of so many things, and then they go home, and while everybody else goes home and feels respected, they go home and they don't feel that way. Imagine that. If you think what black women go through is unfair, imagine what black men go through and their masculine ego. Imagine that. Imagine, you know, being halfway respected outside and even worse, less respected when you go home. Imagine that.
And I know life happens. You can't be with somebody you don't want to be with or whatever. But my grandparents did it. My grandfather, 92, died when he was 92, my best friend. I never seen another type of man. That's why I turned down 3 rings. Because they wasn't like my grandpa.
The issue is that a lot of women are wanting the love from their grandparents' generation, and they're wanting, you know, certain types of men or a certain archetype of a man, but they are not willing to be the women who were the counterpart for that type of man. They don't see it necessary. They don't deem it necessary. They feel like, what's the problem? Why can't I just be how I am, come as I please, and you just fix it for me? Why can't you just right all my wrongs and I don't have to do any of the work just because I'm a woman?
What point are our black men going to stop the bull, social media, and all of that, and build black homes? If we don't build black homes, we can't depend on white folk to build black homes.
I can't understand why she keeps saying we when she has, you know, 100% talked about the fact that that's not even her preference. I'm so confused at why she keeps saying we.
So when you see somebody like your significant other who clearly loves you, and it's all these black women rooting for her, rooting for you. They want you to build a black home.
At this point, she goes back to, you know, his specific relationship and is talking about the fact that, you know, obviously the backlash that he's getting on social media with his girlfriend Jazzy and she's getting is because they want them to do it right. They want him to do right by her. They want him to, you know, do the right thing and marry her and fix the situation, whatever the case is. But I have to say it again, the worst thing that a man can do is be forced to do something because it's the right thing and not what he truly wants to do. And let's be clear, she was clearly okay. She's pregnant again on baby number 2. She's clearly been okay with whatever the situation is, and maybe just now probably wants a different outcome. But if you were okay with this from the beginning, it's very hard to now change your tune and say, I don't want to do that anymore.
That's their anger. They don't know you. They can't judge you for anything else. They want you being who you are, being attractive, being successful. They want you to take hold and solidify and build a black home. That's not saying you're not taking care of the kids you have, but clearly you are, and you love your kids. Taking care of your kids and building a home is 2 different things.
She got back in her Cheyenne Bryant bag. Taking care of your kids and building a home is 2 different things. I'm pretty sure he's well aware of that. I'm pretty sure he knows what the situation is. You know, he's talked about it before where the situation with the woman that he was with before, he's not that person, okay? He's not. Not that he can't be, not that he can't choose to tomorrow, but again, it is not his one responsibility to do something. There's so many different examples out there. There's so many different ones.
What if one simple chew could turn constant itching into complete comfort? This is what would happen if you gave your dog a Porphy allergy and immune chew every day for 2 weeks. Within hours, you'll see it.
You seen LL Cool J been married forever. Morris Chestnut married forever. Like, I can go down the list of black couples who have been married forever. Why wasn't this pain or, you know, angst, you know, centered around the conversation, even in the likes of a Tia Mowry? Why wasn't she on a conversation with Tia Mowry saying you need to fight for your marriage and stay in your relationship because there's people watching you and you were setting examples? Why wasn't there that much, you know, emphasis on black families and marriage and structure when women are walking away? Why not?
Black women have just that we get copied from hair to body to everything. Black women are the most unloved individuals in America, but the ones who have built.
The most mimicked.
Most mimicked. Good or bad mimic, you know? But we looking to you. We looking to you.
Now, this is a bold-faced lie, okay? I'm going to keep it real. This is a bold-faced lie. Not that black women are not the most mimicked, because I do agree with that. I think, you know, black culture in general, black men, black women, we set the trends. It's just true. Okay, it's very true. And I think trends are sometimes fleeting because people borrow from different communities, people borrow from each other, but we're at the forefront of like what's cool, and that's been going on for a long, very long time. But also, it's untrue that when she's talking about the fact that, oh, we're in these spaces and we're looking to you. How many times have we seen women get on the internet talking about, you think I'm doing this for a man? I don't care what a man thinks. Men say they don't like eyelashes. I don't care. I'm doing it for myself. Men say they don't like the BBLs. I don't care. I'm doing it for myself. Why would I care what a man thinks? They're not looking to men. I think that K Michelle has missed a very big part of this conversation in which women are now Xing men out of the equation. They're purposely doing things to go against the grain, not wanting to problem solve, not wanting to be on the same page, not wanting to fix, to go against, to say we are better than you. And if you want me, bow down to me. That's a big difference in conversation.
A successful black man, we are looking to you to change the narrative. And when you don't, it becomes, go on that show and tear his up.
No, they just like to see men humbled. They just like to see, men who are powerful in certain ways get told off, like I said, checked and belittled and shown, yeah, you see, that woman can go over there and put that man in his place because, he might have all that money and he might have them followers on social media and he might get any woman that he wants. But we're going to have some woman that's going to, humble him. That's the only reason.
Have you ever dated outside your race?
Yes, that's all I would like to do.
No?
Yes.
Okay.
I always get in trouble for this over the past 3 years. I've always told my sisters to go where they're loved. And I've always told black women to be open to dating, even outside of their race.
You done did all that yapping just to turn around, cry, do the most, talking about black men, black families, black relationships, and you only date outside of your race. What the hell?
I'm an opponent of happy.
Yeah.
Happy. Go to, go do, go be with whatever, whoever, whenever, as long as it incorporates happily.
Yeah.
Then whatever.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're married.
I'm not
If you can't tell me that you're happily married.
Cam Newton was saying that he is in support of anybody doing anything that makes him happy. I think most men are. Most men don't necessarily really care. It's more women who get, pent up and emotional about things or relationships that don't really affect them in any way. And, he was saying that even in marriages, people get into relationships just to be in a relationship, but don't tell him that you're, in a relationship or married if there's not happy, if you're not happily married. And I think that that's actually, I have a different perspective because I think that in any situation in life, no matter what you're going through, you're not always 100% going to be happy all the time. Sometimes there are phases that you are just there out of duty. Sometimes you're there out of commitment, but sometimes the happiness factor doesn't always set in. And so if somebody is in a space that they are not at their happiest moment and then they talk to you about their marriage, you could get the wrong impression of the entire years of situation just based off of this season that they're in. So I don't agree with that. And I think that people who aren't married or have never been married have that perspective that you're supposed to be happy all the time, that you're supposed to be, running off into the sunset on a daily basis just because you have this commitment with one another. And that's not true. Just like Cam Newton playing football, every day I'm sure he was not happy, but he's saying, I love football. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm committed to it. When you go through injuries or hurts or pains or fighting or whatever the situation is, you're not always going to be so exuberant about the situation, but it's your dedication and your commitment that helps you stay the course through those situations.
Oh, but they're going to tell you they married. I've been married, but you are miserable.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Frost Bistro. It reminds me of the Rashida and Kirk situation. They've been married for forever, and they are miserable. That is horrible.
I thought this was interesting because she mentioned a black couple who they've been married for a lot of years. He had infidelity on his side. I think there was even a child conceived out of that situation. They are still together. They raised their families together. She raised that child as like a stepchild. Like, they have been able to overcome, stay together, and work through things. And as she said that she wanted a black family, as she said that she wanted the men to come home, as she said that she wanted the kids to be able to come home and see their father and people to stick through things, now she is in the same breath, trying to speak down on a couple who was able to do just that. So that's very interesting to me, because if you have these conversations, you got to be steadfast on your belief system, on what you believe, not your feelings about people because you don't really like them, not a certain idea. No, if you are talking about the black family and building the black family, in my personal opinion, I believe that if you are talking about those things, you got to be about it too. If you talking about, you want black men to get it together and build black homes, black loving homes with black women, I think you as a black woman are supposed to want to be with a black man then. I think that should be full stop conversation if you feel so passionate about it, because this is like the pot calling the kettle black, because you're telling Cam Newton that he needs to get married and be an example for the black community, when you as a black woman don't even want to marry a black man because you want to date outside your race. What are you talking about? That makes no sense to me. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video right here. Make sure you guys give that video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.